Hey, what's up guys? Recently I recorded a poll here on YouTube for what you guys wanted to see next, and it was pretty unanimous that people wanted to see StarCraft on this channel. And this is a game that I used to be good at forever ago. I got up to Masters around Wings of Liberty and the beginning of Heart of the Swarm, and then I was playing StarCraft, and then I realized that I wasn't very good at StarCraft. And I started commentating, and that's kind of what put me on my journey where I'm at now. So this game kind of has a special place in my heart. So, you know, we'll talk through what happens gameplay-wise here. This is me playing at the moment. I am going to put commentary on top of it afterwards. I tried to record a video and talk while playing, and I wound up just muting after, like, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes, because there's so much going on in the game. So what's going on here is I'm actually stacking up my drones to get up to about 17, and then I'm going up to about 190 on minerals in the top right corner. As soon as that connects, I'm going to send over a hatchery down to my natural and expand. This start wasn't perfect, but typically what you do is a 13 overload, or overlord, which for those that don't know what that means is a supply, and the top right corner goes up. There's these little floating beanbag things that are on the map that kind of control how much army you can have on the map. So you do that at 13, that puts your number up, and then you continue droning like crazy. Here I'm going gas first, which is pretty greedy, especially in a ZvZ. I know that my opponent is Zerg, and I've been getting cheese lately, so I sent out a drone right now, actually, you see on the minimap. It's heading down to the bottom right. I also have an overlord path that allows me to see if any Zerglings are coming. If they don't do any micro whatsoever, I should see if they have a push coming. So I start the gas first. My goal is to get to about 100 and then take it off the gas and just go full minerals afterwards. However, that can be a little bit difficult if you're dealing with aggression, which you will see here soon coming on this player. Actually, you see on the map in the bottom left right now, you see some overloads and some lings moving. Those faster dots kind of indicate that something's happening. I'm like, okay, so I move forward and I look up and I realize that they are going for an aggressive push and that lings will be coming. So I scout everything just to make sure that looks normal. It looks like he is trying to drone up afterwards. So my goal here is to save as many drones as I can, but he makes a mistake and goes straight for my spawning pool, which is scary if I allow him to focus it all the way, but this buys me more time to start pumping out lings. And here I can micro and just kind of block him. I'm trying to bait a fight on my drones. I actually don't want them. The moment I see it, I micro half of them through the mineral trick. Tries to save them with low HP. I get a couple up there, and then I do another round of hits, and then I look and see my Zerglings coming up. So now I want to focus on my minerals and just try not to lose too many drones. If I was a little bit faster, I could have got my lings fighting here. I made a bit of a mistake. In fact, I think I lost a good 5-6 drones here, which is a pretty substantial amount. However, the good news is I was able to farm a lot of gas. So once I stabilize and realize that I've defended this push, I start droning up behind it. I get out a couple of lings. My queen injects this hatchery, which this is my second priority besides my drones to keep my queen alive. I don't care about Zerglings, they're just minerals, right? So I get speed up, and now from here, my goal is to try and pseudo drone up, which gets my economy going, but also put some faint pressure on him, so he also is spending his money on lings and not drones, so I can take a mineral advantage. I then realize, I think a little bit later on, I look at my bottom right corner and realize he hasn't had a queen push out to attack my overlord, so I scout it back and then I try to find any drones or any lings. I saw a substantial amount of lings, but none pushing out. So I decided to go ahead and put 3 here at the front in case he had an overlord nearby that could be scouting out, and then what I'm going to do is try and hide a bunch of lings in this back right corner. I'm just going to pump them out the most that I can, try and keep my supply from getting supply blocked in that top right corner. Hide them in the corner of my base, and that way he has no idea this is coming. And my goal here is to try and put some pressure on him, make him build more Zerglings, snipe some queens, or even grab a couple of drones and end the game. So we'll be waiting for that little tech to finish up. You saw that blue bar in the spawning pool. And then behind that, on my first injection of larva, what I'll be doing is just pumping a bunch of drones behind it so I can build up my economy, and then I'll dance around and try not to lose all my lings. I'll also get some more queens out as well. Like right now, the queens that I have, I'm spending just enough money. But that is something that I'm going to have to deal with in the future. And then I'll probably want to move towards the third hatch. So let's see how this goes. Immediately I push out. We got a lot of Zerglings. You can see them running on the map. The great thing about Zerglings is they're great in numbers, and they're very, very fast. So my goal, get down here and try to use that speed to my advantage, especially if my opponent hasn't gotten it. I noticed that he doesn't have speed yet. So I try to circumvent around here. He actually has some decent micro and get some damage over on the right. I misclick, fuck up dramatically, so I just buy some time, and at least I get that one queen in the top left corner. I wanted to get a second one, but my misclicks kind of cost me here. But I notice that he has no drones in the natural, only one available, which means he is pumping lings like crazy. So I try to go for a little bit of focus here on top of those queens. I want them to use their energy for heals, so I can come back and maybe try to snipe them later on. And I wind up droning behind this. You'll see me just pump a ton of drones. I also move up to 2 drones on my gas, start building that up, and I'll go to 3 eventually. Right now, I'm just trying to pump out as many minerals as I can to saturate my base. You can see that worker number on top. That's how to get maximum saturation on your base in terms of just minerals being pumped. And I want to feint a lot of pressure here. I'm trying to find an opening for me to go for that queen. Nothing really pops up. And at this point, all I want to do is try to expand and maybe delay him from getting expansion himself. So drones continue to get pumped out. Life is looking pretty good. I go back for another swing. And doing stuff like this is pretty huge, especially if your opponents are being greedy and not going for tech. You make them do a couple of things. Like he's probably going for banelings or roaches in the background. Ooh, I try to go for this, and I miss micro. Trying to micro half of them. And I actually do not snipe this queen, which is a massive mistake. I traded out minerals for basically nothing there and also danced around. So if he went for a counterattack here, it would have been a good play for him. So I think I even expect that counterattack play. I go for a 3rd hatchery, and then I think I also go for a sunken, which allows for me to defend my natural and buy some time for my lings to transfer from my 3rd, because my 3rd being focused and defended is probably my biggest goal here. So we put up 2 gases. I realize that I'm trying to pump out a lot of roaches, but my gas number isn't going up as well as I would like, and I've also saturated myself with my workers. I have 13 out of 16 there. I had 15 out of 16 on the other one. I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm going for a 3rd. So drones shouldn't be a problem in the future. All I have to do is keep an eye on the gas, and if I have excess gas laying around, I can go into layer tech, which I'm already behind on. Layer tech allows you to go to the mid game. It gives you more tech upgrades, makes you a lot stronger, especially for Zerg because they're very ground based. Going into layer tech gives me some ability to start working on air superiority. It's coming in here. I'm just trying to get a count on his lings, and if he has any banelings or anything I should be scared of. But the thing is, he makes a massive play and actually catches my reinforcement. This is actually a really, really awesome play, and I was quite proud of him for doing that. Behind that, I decided, okay, I'm not going to commit to a full push. I don't see him having up to a 3rd. I'm trying to build a 3rd. I'm just going to build enough units to hopefully defend, but also be in a spot where economy-wise I'll be good. I also noticed that I missed micro one of my queens in here, so I just added to the army. I might as well use that healing on the roaches if I get the chance. So I come up here and I want to try and threaten a fight, because I want to make him make a decision between going for tech or going for an expansion or going for an all-in. So I come back here, I drop down that spine crawler, I see him come in for a push. I step up, and I'm hoping that I can defend this hatchery. We're going to fake like we're going to go for an all-in, pull our lings back at the last second. Roaches could be spread out, but hey, I'm old and washed up. I don't get this entire defense, but I do take out a lot of his banelings, which is a lot of gas, and that yells to me, okay, this is a good chance for you to go for a counter push or go to tech. And I do think I decided to go straight into lair. Which you see there. I wind up fixing my full gas here, and then I just do a nice roach ling push. My goal is to threaten him into not getting a 3rd and showing me what he's trying to build, because I've only seen banelings from him and a weird cheese at the very start. I don't know what he's going for, and I haven't sent an overlord in, which is something I should fix in the future. So I step up, I see some roaches available, I use my lings to surround them, I want to snipe them, but then I notice what he's doing. He's playing super defensive. He's putting a lot of his money into queens here in the back right corner, which those are great for healing. So what I do is I trade out as much as I can with my lings, because I don't care about those, but the moment they start attacking my roaches, I pull back. Those will be valuable in the future because I'll be teching into them. So that's why I pull them back and wait for a potential turnaround, which we actually get because he stops microing, and half his army chased me, and I was able to get my lings in there and surround that. And at this point, I need to be checking his 3rd in the top right corner, which I'm not doing. We have our 3rd almost all the way over. You see my econ starting to spike up. In fact, I'm getting to a point where I'm not doing a good job of pumping out overlords. If you do play Zerg, one of the things that you can do is every time that you inject, make sure that you put a spawn on overlord, and that will stop you from getting supply blocked in most scenarios. Since I'm supply blocked, I know that I'm pretty much screwed on pushing for a bit, so what I do is build up 2 evolution chambers. This allows me to run double upgrade so I can tech up my roaches. And then also spin that gas that I've been mining in the back right corner. I do see an opportunity here to come in here and try and snipe a queen. He has some decent micro overall, but my goal is to try and whittle these numbers as much as I can for when I come for a push later on. I get them down to about 1 queen, which isn't that big of a deal. They're only 150 minerals, but it does keep their hatchery focused on that instead of doing tech. Back home, I'm realizing that I need to clean up my base shenanigans I'm doing here, so I just drone like crazy after this small push. I get the roach speed being pumped out, which is a big massive upgrade. I then realize that I'm building a spawning pool instead of the hydrogen den that I meant to do. Definitely kicking myself in the butt. If I was recording this commentary live, I'd probably be cussing like crazy. So we're going to push off of this roach speed push and see how far I can go. Since I took out most of his queens, I'm bringing in a lot of lings, and what I want to do is get a surround and pick off his roaches if he has low numbers and it was droning too much. And behind this, I'm just going to drone like crazy. I'm going to try and get my drones up to about 60 to 70. which I think I'm actually low here. I think I'm around like 54, which is pretty low. I don't know, ZvZ is so scary. I think I under-drone. And then we also start up the hydrogen speed, because I want to have Hydras in the mix so they can snipe Overlords, and then if he's going muted or something, because he's been sitting on 2 base for a while, I have that as an option to transition into. Because I have 3 bases, so as long as I defend my economy, I should beat him in the War of Attrition as long as I don't all in. I know he's going Ravagers, and I don't fully know what that means, as I haven't played with Ravagers myself yet. I'm still stuck on like playing Roach Hydra and all the comps that I know from back in the day. But from what I understand, they're kind of like siege units, so I go in and try to take out a couple, playing around that Ling strategy once again of not full all-inning. When I don't have the Ling numbers, my drone numbers start finally go up, so I'm going to add another 4th hatchery. This will give me larva without forcing me to keep injecting. And then also give me a transition phase for my main base. And I realize that he still hasn't expanded his 3rd, which means he's going to be running out of minerals soon, so all I have to do is coast. And, you know, sometimes this is the boring thing you have to do in StarCraft, is just kind of take your lead and just coast off of it, and try not to throw your units in and try to finish the game too fast. Especially for playing Zerg. So I come around to the 3rd just to double check that, and I'm thinking, what if I get cute? What if I do a little sandwich maneuver? But then I realized I'm supply blocked. So I just start pumping out a ton of Overlords and overcorrecting, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just use this time to spend my money on upgrades. It's going to be a really shitty timing. I've already missed all my windows. It's fine. Just spend the money. I set some Hydras down here and a couple of Roaches because I want to try and do that sandwich maneuver I told you about, but my opponent actually pushes out, and I think I catch it a little late. I lose a couple of Roaches. But we know that he's wanting to spawn in that direction. So I decide to go ahead and feint a full pullback. And I'm just pumping as many as I can here. I want to grab the high ground. If they put him in the hatchery, I don't mind defending it. I bring the spine crawler down as well, just to buy me a little bit more time. Because all I need to do is get units out. And then I realize, oh my god, Overlords again. I start pumping them like crazy. And then it winds up looking like he's not going to go for an aggressive play at all. So I'm like, alright. I'll chill back for now. Let's go ahead and get our gas up. We're starting to spin through it. Hydras are quite expensive, and so have been these upgrades that we've been running. Let's just make sure that we have as big of an army as possible, because something is eventually coming here. And I think I stay on this phase for a bit, and then I realize I might want to start keeping an eye out for any burrow mechanics, or maybe get a little bit more vision. So I start making some Overseers in my army. It's a pretty cheap way that you can get a little bit more strength on your army. You can get scouting, you can get maybe something that tanks the air superiority if they go Corruptors or anything like that, and you want to go Mutas. Overseers are freaking awesome, in my opinion. Okay, straight to the match once again. Another geyser goes up. I think off of like 4 base, or I'm sorry, 3 base, you want to be running 5 to 6 geysers. On Roaches, you can stick with just 3. But since I'm mixing these Hydras in now, I'm going in a little bit. Now, the goal changes a little bit. You know how earlier I was using my Lings to soak that front line? I want to do that for my Hydras. They're very, very squishy glass cannons. The moment my Roaches numbers start to thin out, I decide to go ahead and pull on back. We'll keep those dams going, just trading out our economy. Like, I don't have to be efficient here, just because I'm so far ahead of him. And I see a big blob in the bottom left, which can indicate a big push is coming. And he's been pushing to that 3rd, so I decided that is the place to choose to defend. If I had a better creep tumor spread, I would know for sure. But this seemed like the likely place that he would go for a fight. So I grew everything up. I realized I have a nice 160. I realized that I actually have a bigger army than him, so I pull half my army to the right, and I hug up on them. What I'm trying to do is slow them down, or if they decide to full right-click away, I get extra hits on them, so they're forced to kind of fight me in this choke until they get rid of that little small flank. And then I can just hug them from there. And we notice that we have the Roaches advantage, which is a big, happy indicator when you're playing in a ZvZ. So you have a couple of options here. You can either just go ahead and start pumping everything, or you can go for tech. I decided to do both, since I know I have 2 bases on him. We just go ahead and keep Larva up, keep droning up, keeping the APM up, look down to the bottom right, let's push in, see if he has any queens, because he's been pumping those like crazy off of 2 base. He does. So our goal here is to try and split his focus a smidgen with some leans coming in, and then we can try and clean out these queens here. So get a couple in the mix. Micro wasn't the greatest here. I could have split out a couple. Once the leans get picked off, we back away, and then we decide, all right, everything's nice injected. Let's keep everything going here. I actually fixed my hotkey. If you notice in that 4, I had a bunch of Roaches locked to it. Like if I'm ever over 1,000, it's because I'm getting big for a larva injector. I'm sucking ass, and it was definitely the latter last time. We do realize our upgrades are about coming out, so I'm like, I'm gonna wait for these upgrades to connect. I just need to make sure it doesn't have a 3rd, and I think this is what I do here. Is I actually inject everything, check all these upgrades, grab up the 2-2. And I keep looking at the overload in the bottom left. And we move in just to make sure they haven't expanded to a third again. Like, this guy was so terrified of dying like 5 times, I think we just killed him by just scaring him a bit. I realize that I lose all my minerals in the main, but I'm pretty saturated at my natural third and fourth, so I might as well just go ahead and expand the bottom left. And I just have the drones long mine. I don't mind too much. Like, for now, all I have to do is just micro my army well enough, and I shouldn't be surprised by anything. We step forward, we realize that we have a bigger army than him. So I want to move forward to try and get that concave. I move to the back line, and it's where I micro against all the queens. I want him to screw up or not pay attention to the front of the army, which I am chewing through that right now. And it looks like if you get to the roaches here, you just get straight to the queens. And although queens are very tanky and have a lot of healing, once you actually get a couple of upgrades on top of your roaches, they just kind of burn through them really, really fast. And that's what is happening here. And then always when you know that you've won the fight, go back home and ensure that you won the fight. Tech all the larvae, check everything out. I'm GGing now because people yell at me for not saying GG because I'm a robot in this game. And then he says, how to play like an idiot 101, laughing my ass off. And that is StarCraft 2. Thank you for watching, guys. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments below.